Good morning, friends, and welcome to lesson 2 of our scratch test investigation. Today, we are going to get down to doing some awesome observations of a variety of different minerals. Okay, and if you recall those vocabulary words listed behind me that you should now have in your Earth Materials booklet are going to be super important for your understanding of what we're going to be discussing today. All right, so without any further ado, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on my safety goggles. Okay, and we are going to begin to explore our rocks and minerals. Okay, now in your science notebooks, okay, I'm actually going to put these up for a second because I don't think I need them just yet. You are going to find, okay, a page that looks like this. Scratch test, properties. And if you will notice, I took those very same new vocabulary words that we talked about in yesterday's lesson, and I have put them inside of each chart. You're going to be looking at 4 mystery minerals. I'm not going to identify the names for you yet because that's going to be our job to figure that out together. So on your workbook page, you're going to fill in, just as you see, okay, the color, the texture, the luster, and whether there's cleavage or fracture. And as we work on this, I'm going to be showing you and modeling for you exactly what to do. All right, so without any further ado, let's take a look at our first sample. All right, here, my friends, is our first sample. I'm trying to put that in good vision for you, okay? All right, so when we look at this sample, what do we notice about its color? What do we notice about its color? If you said that it was white or clear in some aspects, you are absolutely correct. So in my notebook, I'm going to write down white/clear, okay? How does it feel? Well, you can't really tell how it feels, so I'm going to have to do that part. I can tell you that it feels very smooth, okay? It feels very smooth. So I'm going to write it feels smooth, okay? Now, what about the luster of it? Let's think about those words that we had listed on our page. We can always flip back to it as a reference. Okay, again, the luster is how light is reflected. Well, you can definitely say it's not metallic. It's definitely non-metallic. Okay, so is it waxy, glassy, pearly, or dull? Okay, I'm going to go with it's actually pretty glassy. Okay, so I'm going to jot that down in my notebook. As you can see, I've started doing that. Okay, I'm going to say my luster is glassy. Okay, and then we want to get a little bit more specific, okay, to those very same words that are there. Okay, now that we know it's non-metallic and it's glassy, is it transparent, translucent, or opaque? So let's take a look at it again. Well, it's definitely not transparent because I can't see directly through it, but I do see some light shining through it. I do see a little bit of light shining through it. Okay, so I'm going to say that it is what is called translucent. So in my science notebook, I'm going to say translucent. Okay, now what about the cleavage, my friends? The cleavage. Now remember what cleavage is. Clean, flat breaks, or does it have fracture? Okay, well, guess what? Look at this. They all kind of look like they are pretty much clean and flat. You might see a bump here or there, but overall, look how clean and flat that break is. So I'm going to go ahead and circle the word cleavage. Okay, so here we have our first mineral. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put that back. And I do have a tray here that has all of my minerals in it, my mystery minerals, okay? If we were in the classroom, each group would be getting these particular minerals, these mystery minerals, and this was number 1 that we just looked at. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up number 2, and you can see I just picked up number 2. All right, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make some observations, acting as junior geologists. All right, so here is mineral number 2. Mineral number 2. The color of mineral number 2. I'm going to say the color's white, maybe even a little clear. So I could say white and clear, same as the very first mineral. White and clear. How does it feel? Okay, well, this sample does not feel like the other one. It was not completely smooth, and you can tell by looking at that. Hopefully you can see more of the mineral than my fingers. Okay, it's definitely not smooth. I'm going to say it's actually rough and bumpy. Okay, I'm going to say rough and bumpy. Okay, now what about the luster? The luster. Do you see any light passing through it? Maybe a little bit. Yeah, it's reflecting off of it, that's for sure. But I'm going to say that the luster is glassy again, and that it is more opaque, okay, than the other one, but a little translucent. Okay. All right. And now, does it have a cleavage or a fracture? Okay. This particular sample, to be honest with you, could look either way. But knowing that what this mineral actually is, technically speaking, from a scientific standpoint, if we were to look up the name of this mineral once we identify it in our next lesson, it's going to tell you that it has fracture, although it seems to me, it is fracture actually, yes, because it breaks along, absolutely, it breaks along curved surfaces. Okay, I was thinking of a different mineral. Absolutely. This is what you would call fracture. There is no fine, definite, clean breaks. Okay, see the difference between mineral number 1 and mineral number 2. Huge difference in terms of whether it's cleavage or fracture. Okay, this one is definitely more of your fracture, and this one is more of your cleavage. Okay, so I'm going to circle fracture there. All right, and I'm going to put mineral number 2 back and mineral number 1 back. We are moving on to mineral number 3. All right, mineral number 3, my friends, right here. All right, let's see here. We've got a color which is sort of, from my standpoint, I see some pink in it. So I'm going to say pinkish, and I'm also going to say white. Okay, the texture is very smooth. Okay, is smooth. The luster is more pearly. Okay, this is definitely more pearly. Okay, and it's definitely non-metallic, okay, but it's opaque. There's no light passing through. And the cleavage, in terms of whether there's cleavage or fracture, again, there's clean, flat breaks, my friends, clean, flat breaks. So we're going to circle the word cleavage. All right, and now we're moving on to mineral number 4. Okay, mineral number 4. Ooh, you should be able to look at that and tell right away that it is green. Okay, the texture it's smooth and rough. The luster is glassy. Okay, and it's definitely non-metallic, but it is also translucent. And in terms of cleavage or fracture, there's actually some very clean breaks along there. So we're going to say cleavage. Okay, and this, my friends, is lesson 2. I'm going to hold that up there, and you can go ahead and jot that down in your notebook. In our next lesson, we are going to identify what these minerals are.